Hey guys, it's Gedikiju122. Before we begin today's video, I would like to address another nickname suggestion made in the comments. Today's nickname suggestion has once again been given by Uber Dan, and he has suggested a nickname for Larvitar. And he has suggested the nickname Rar, which I find very adorable, not only because it fits Larvitar's aesthetic, but hypothetically, if I were to go the full 9 yards and evolve this into Tyranitar, bringing out a big giant Godzilla monster whose name is Rar is just really adorable and ironic in my eyes. So there you go, Uber Dan. Thanks to you, Larvitar has been nicknamed Rar. Now, on with the video. Hello everybody, my name is Gedikiju122 and welcome back to Pokémon Fire Red. Last time, we returned to Cerulean City and entered the Cerulean Cave. We went through a somewhat complicated maze, avoiding most of what was in there just because I didn't want to use Rock Smash. But at the bottom of the cave, our reward was Mewtwo, the most powerful Pokemon in the game. And after a few attempts, we were able to get it for ourselves. This time, we have another Pokemon of interest that we need to get for ourselves. But this one requires a little bit of work in order for us to get. So, for us to find it, there's no exact specific location that we need to go to, as this Pokemon only becomes available once you get the Ruby and Sapphire, and just kind of roams around the Kanto region. Fortunately, I don't think you are able to find it in the Sevi Islands, so you just need to focus on exploring the Kanto region, but it can pop up anywhere. So, there are a couple things I would recommend that you do before you try to find it. But the way that we're going to approach this is we're going to get it to try to appear on Route 6 here. And there are a multitude of reasons why, but to kind of get everything ready, the first thing I recommend that you do is buy repels. You can buy max repels, you can buy normal repels, buy any amount of repels that you feel like. But I recommend that you have plenty of repels on hand, because this is how the strategy is going to work. So with the repels in hand, we want to get a particular Pokemon. Unfortunately, none of the Pokemon in my party are going to do the job in this particular case. We need a Pokemon of a certain level. A Pokemon that can be higher leveled than whatever route that you're exploring on, but it has to be a Pokemon whose level is lower than 50. I think all things considered, I'm gonna go with Arthur the Delibird. And yes, I am being completely sincere about this. I am not kidding in the slightest. I'm even gonna take out Raitoshi, even though it's been my go-to for helping me catch Pokemon of rare varieties. I am gonna be using Arthur for this. Arthur meets the exact level requirements that we need in order for this to work on Route 6. It's higher level than all the other Pokemon in this area that we'd normally be able to find, but it's lower than level 50. So I think keeping it in the party is going to work. So the way that you want to do this is you want to use repels. And that makes it so that everything except for the Pokemon that we are trying to find would be able to appear. Now, that doesn't mean that the Pokemon is going to appear straight away. So for this to work, you need to kind of enter and exit the route on multiple occasions if you do not believe that the Pokemon that you're trying to find is on this route. The nice thing about it is that we have this particular building here, the underground path. By entering this building and exiting it, it counts as you entering and exiting the route. So we can work with this in order to find the Pokemon that we're looking for. So I'm going to put up my repel, and we're going to do a quick little montage and see how long this takes for us to find it. Because, again, this might take a few minutes, this might take an hour. Hopefully it does not take that long. Ah, here we go! Raikou has appeared! Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Now, what amazing strategy will I use to capture this? I'm gonna use a Master Ball. I'm not gonna waste a minute of my time. We're going to immediately capture Raikou in the Master Ball. 3, boom! There you go. That is what I recommend you use your Master Ball on. There's nothing else in the game that is worth using the Master Ball on except for Raikou. Raikou, the Thunder Pokemon. This Pokemon races across the land while barking a cry that sounds like crashing thunder. If you guys would like to give a nickname to Raikou, you are free to do so in the comments. Now that we've gotten that little doodad taken care of, let's go to the Pokemon Center and talk about how Raikou works as a Pokemon, because there's a lot that we need to unpack here. Alright, Raikou. Got some good stuff on here. It has Thunder, Shock, Roar, Quick Attack, and Spark. Very nice. In Lax nature, that means more defense, less special offense. Not great for a Raikou, but I mean, it's not terrible. Now, let's get into talking about Raikou as a Pokemon. Raikou is the Thunder Pokemon. This Pokemon will only be made available to you if you chose Squirtle as your starter Pokemon. The way that this works in this game is that there are 1 of 3 legendary beasts that you are able to catch, which when you are able to capture is determined by your starter Pokemon. It will be the beast whose primary type is super effective against your Pokemon's primary type. In my case, since I chose Squirtle, I get the electric type Raikou. We'll be going over the other 2 Pokemon in just a moment, but for the moment we need to focus on Raikou as it's the first one that has come up. Raikou has relatively well-balanced stats across the board. It mostly focuses on having really good special attack, special offense, and speed, but its other stats aren't bad either, making it a really good legendary Pokemon to start off with. It's not quite as viable as an electric Pokemon as, say, Zapdos, only because it's not immune to ground types, but an electric type is still only weak to ground attacks, so it is still a really good Pokemon regardless. It doesn't have the absolute best moves starting off. It only knows Thunder Shock, Quick Attack, Spark, and Roar, but it is able to get better moves through level up, including both Thunder and Crunch. Though, like a lot of electric type Pokemon in the game, Raikou is not able to learn Thunderbolt through level up. So if you want to have it learn Thunderbolt, you're going to have to get a TM from the Rocket Game Corner. The other nice thing about Raikou is that it does have the ability to learn Rain Dance by TM. If you combine this with its ability to use Thunder, it can be spamming Thunder and it will never miss, making it a really nice Pokemon to use because of that. Raikou is easily one of the strongest electric Pokemon that you can find, and if at this point you're looking for an alternate electric Pokemon to add to your team, this is definitely an excellent Pokemon that you may want to consider adding to your team. Now, if you chose Bulbasaur as your starter Pokemon, you instead get Entei. Entei's stats, like all legendary Pokemon, are above average, and nothing is particularly bad. It doesn't have the best moveset starting out, but fortunately, even though it doesn't know Flamethrower right off the bat, Entei does learn Flamethrower at level 51. And it does also eventually learn Fire Blast, so while it doesn't have good fire moves right off the bat, it will learn really powerful stuff not too far down the road. Although, unlike Raikou, Entei doesn't necessarily outshine some of the other fire types, as a fire type anyway. Even though it does have really good HP, physical attack, and speed, which can make it beneficial, unfortunately this is not the ideal generation to be pulling that strategy with Entei. All fire moves are still considered special, and while its base 90 special attack is perfectly fine, Ninetales also has base 90 special attack. So it's not really much better than other fire Pokemon that we can have available. That said, it is still a very powerful and very durable Pokemon that I will fully acknowledge gets a lot better once you get to Gen 4. Now, before I go into the third Pokemon, I need to give a very hard warning about Raikou and Entei specifically. If I were to try to fight Raikou and Entei normally, I would normally only be able to get off one hit and then it would run away, and then I would have to chase it around the region again in order to find it. One might think, knowing what you probably know about roaming Pokemon, is that you can bypass their ability to run away by either using Mean Look or by using abilities such as Shadow Tag or Arena Trap. Do not do this. At least not with these two. The reason why is because they know Roar. Now, normally, they will not do this. Because if you just fight them normally, they will just simply run away. However, if you decide to trap them, they will instantly use Roar on their next turn. And if they end up doing that, they will run away with the Roar, and then you can never find them again. So be sure that you do not try this. This is normally a strategy that works on just about any other roaming Pokemon, but in this game, this does not fly with these two. So absolutely do not try this. Again, my recommendation, just save your Master Ball for these guys. That's what you want to use the Master Ball on. Now, if you chose Charmander as your starter Pokemon, first of all, you don't have to worry about that glitch that I just talked about before, because Suicune does not have this problem. It does not know Roar, and therefore you will not run into this problem. As expected of a legendary Pokemon, Suicune's stats are above average in comparison to most other Pokemon. It does have a bigger emphasis on defense and special defense. It's basically just, I hate to talk trash on Blastoise because he's always good, but in terms of its stat distribution, it is basically a better Blastoise, with moderately better offensive capabilities, but also better defensive capabilities. And the nice thing is, being found at level 50, Suicune will have access to the Aurora Beam move, which not only helps it deal with other Pokemon like ground types, but it also helps deal with one of its weaknesses, grass types, because Aurora Beam's an ice attack. And it will also learn Hydro Pump relatively soon. Though if you're impatient and wanted to learn a good water type move straight away, as always, you can teach it Surf. Now you might think that Suicune is not necessarily that much of an upgrade in comparison to some of the other really good water type Pokemon that we are able to find, because to be fair, there are really good Pokemon like Lapras, Cloyster, and Vaporeon. But the difference between those three and Suicune is that even though Suicune does have a priority, Suicune does have more well-rounded stats, and those well-rounded stats are overall higher. As a result, as far as water-type Pokemon, Suicune really is second to none. There are no Pokemon that you can find in this game that are better water types than Suicune. There are arguably more powerful water-type Pokemon in other regions, but as far as this game independently is concerned, Suicune is considered the best water-type Pokemon in the game. So if you want to raise a water-type Pokemon of any kind, or you're lacking, or you just want something new, use Suicune. It is truly the best of the best. And that's about it for today. We were able to catch a legendary beast. It took a few minutes, but we were able to successfully catch Raikou and add it to our collection of amazing Pokemon. And that pretty much takes care of all the main events that we were able to do in this game. So, there's only one thing left to do, and that is to challenge the Elite Four one more time with the post-game difficulty. And trust me, they are not going to be easy. So next time on Pokémon Fire Red, we're going to return to the Indigo League one last time to fight the Elite Four and our rival with their new and improved teams. See you guys then.